One year ended and the other starts, and you already know that every YouTuber is gonna do some kind of best of. So let's just get into my best manga I've read in 2023. Did I ever mention that I like Chainsaw Man and just every single Tatsuki Fujimoto's work? I think that at least like 21 times I just briefly said it. So again, if you are new here, I love Tatsuki Fujimoto, which is why I'm happy to see that people that assist him make their names as well. And one of them is Yuji Kaku. And after assisting with Fire Punch, he then created his own story, Hell's Paradise. But my glazing doesn't stop here. Not one, not two, but there are 3 people under the creation of Hell's Paradise that are or were assistants of Tatsuki Fujimoto. Yuji Kaku, who is, as I already said, helped with Fire Punch, then created his own story Hell's Paradise, and my absolute favorite from him, Ayashimon. Fuck you, Shonen Jump. Then Yukina Butatsu, again, there is Fire Punch and Chainsaw Man, but you may know him as the author of Dandadan. And lastly, Tatsura Endo. No, not this one. This one, the author of Spy Family. You probably didn't know that. You're welcome, but yes, he was assistant for Fire Punch, and not only that, also for Attack on Titan, Blue Exorcist, and now he's assistant for Blue Lock. Wait, what was this segment supposed to be about again? Oh yeah, Hell's Paradise! Yeah, really good? You can see the big influence of Tatsuki Fujimoto, which in this case is unfortunately kinda bad. Unlike Dandadan, then distinct itself from Tatsuki Fujimoto's madness and created his own absolutely stupid masterpiece, Hell's Paradise didn't really do anything that special that you have never seen before or is not seen that often. Now don't take this that I hate Hell's Paradise, it's just that the huge influence of Tatsuki Fujimoto was its biggest strength, but also it casts this huge shadow on it. Number 15 is Pumpkin Night, and this is not some amazing story with Urasawa's level writing. It's actually a really fucking bad manga with characters being so bland and forgettable piece of nothingness. And this story is actually child level writing. But the revenge and the gore, this is the kind of thing that just tickles my balls. Pumpkin Night actually started 3 years ago my love for revenge gore stories, and it can be bad as you want, but it's just my guilty pleasure that I'm always coming back to. But even I have some limits, and the limits in this manga is the second part. Just don't ever read it. I don't know how to say it without spoilers, but when it starts talking about dead characters that are not dead, and other character that is locked up in some kind of asylum, then just stop, that is actual garbage. But the first part, goddamn, I for sure love it. It's unbelievable how sometimes it gets so gross, but that's the shit that I'm looking for. I definitely can't show the reason why I love it so much, but let's just simply say that it gets really disgusting. And you know what? The story of Pumpkin Night, an invincible monster that rises from the dead to kill its prey and strike fear into them, is actually not that bad, and I love it. At number 14 is actually manhwa. Yo, I know it's called best manga I've read in 2023, but of course that means I'm gonna include manhwas and manhwas, Korean and Chinese manga, so chill, okay? Anyway, Solo Leveling, if you want good stepping stone for reading manhwas, Solo Leveling is absolutely the best choice and one of the best Korean stories. It doesn't have the most compelling story, it's just basic power fantasy with game-like abilities, but what this story makes so good is, as you can probably see, the fucking art and over-the-top action. Everything that you see is the actual art from Solo Leveling, and the most unbelievable thing about this is how it gets better and better as it goes on. And just to clarify, every single chapter is over 200 pages of this amazing art, and this was published every single week. This was weekly manhwa. Excuse me, what? This absolute masterpiece was published every single week, and then there is a fucking black laborator that cries when he needs to make it every 3rd month. Normally, that would be it. I would just make a couple more jokes and move on, but I want to dedicate this part to the artist for the manhwa, which name I'm not gonna say because I don't wanna mispronounce it, who unfortunately passed away in 2023. I think we can safely say that he created one of the most influential manhwas in recent years, and his art was on the absolute top. So, thank you so much for creating this piece of art, and I'm definitely gonna read multiple times. Thank you. With this manga called The Revenge Classroom, you can see how much I love revenge stories, and maybe I need some serious help. Like this character in this manga decides to murder every single classmate in her class for just bullying her, and if you were the one that never even touched her, you bet you are on her list as well. And why? Because why didn't you just do something instead of just watching her getting bullied? It gets into some really interesting themes, like obviously bullying, but also abuse, manipulation, and even suicide. But what makes this story a little better than any other classroom took my revenge, is that the main character goes from various different stages of thinking and sometimes even questions herself if what she's doing is right and if some people even deserve that kind of punishment. You can say that she still acts like human and not like some psychopath even after killing someone. She regrets her doings and feels remorse, and that is something that many other revenge mangas just forgets to create, a human being with rational thinking. And then there is the ending. Let's just say that you could see that plot twist from far away, but it was well hidden and easily forgettable. Literal definition of plot twist. Something happening you didn't expect it. And I definitely did not expect this ending. In the start of year 2023, I was really depressed and felt like my life has no meaning, and that's when I thought it would be the best time to read some really depressing mangas, with one of them being 3 Days of Happiness. I'm really surprised that I'm still alive after reading a story that is literally about selling your life for real money and realizing that everything has price on it, and your life can be priced depending on your achievements, and also that your life is fucking miserable, you're human garbage, and when you fight someone you love, it doesn't matter how long you have to live, the only thing that matters is that you are with that one person. And then I am here, alone, unemployed human garbage, and if this story was in real life and I sold my soul, I couldn't even buy a fucking cheeseburger in sale. Serial Killer in Another World is a manga that really shouldn't be here on this list, especially higher than 3 Days of Happiness. But the idea of isekai world that has 13 reincarnators that are abusing their powers after already defeating the Demon King and now them being the huge threat of the world, and having main character as a serial killer, hunting those reincarnators and killing them was fucking amazing, and I simply enjoyed it. Seeing how he has to think outside the box and use his abilities as a killer to outsmart these fuckers way stronger than him was just entertaining read with beautiful looking art. Well, this was my first read of Gans, and definitely not last, and you know exactly why I want to reread it. Definitely not for the over-sexualized women. I don't even know why it was so good. The main character was such a dick, and I still cheered for him and felt really bad. It doesn't really have the most memorable supporting characters, but what this story certainly has is action and out-of-the-world ideas of alien invasion. Oh yeah, and for some reason it has a blackface. I already mentioned the most influential manhwa, and as much as I love solo leveling, it's not the best manhwa of all time. This title belongs to omniscient reader's viewpoint. Imagine that there is a story that you are reading every single day for the past 10 years. Something that is always there for you and you can escape to that fantasy world from school bullying, abuse, or just miserable life. And this amazing story that you have been reading is not really that popular. So you are the only reader of it by the chapter 50. And on the day of its last chapter 3000, the ending of something so close to you, something happens. A weird creature appears talking all so mighty, and you are slowly starting to realize that that creature is very similar to one from the story you have been reading all this time. And now you are experiencing and living in that story not as a reader anymore, but as a player. And that's only the beginning. Every single new arc is bigger and better than the previous. You will never get bored reading this. The action is almost never ending. And when it's finally not action, you should prepare some tissues. They will come in handy in both ways. To this day, I am still scared of horror genres. I am never playing or watching horror when I'm alone. Fuck no. But I can't say that it's not my favorite genre. I may be scared, but the fact that I always avoided horror and thrillers now opens this new experience for me. And what better way to experience something new in a new format than to read, in my opinion, the best horror manga, Hideout. This right here is the panel that made me not to leave my room even for piss. Maybe it's because I read it at 2 AM, but that still doesn't change the fact that those two eyes emerging from the dark, looking into my eyes through the gaps between the planks was the most uncomfortable and unpleasant feeling I have ever experienced. The author Masasumi Kakizaki mastered the usage of contrast, shadow and light, and using these in closed space make it look realistic and very unsettling. The author also mentions his major influence from Stephen King, and upon reading this manga, it says a lot. But for some reason, the story of a man being hunted by a monster only to become the same monster he was hunted by and understand his doings somehow reminds me of a Blair Witch. And I don't know if that is good or bad, because if I remember correctly, only the game had this plot twist, not the movies, and the game sucked ass. I think that rereading One Punch Man was my best idea this year. That manga is absolutely gold, and I completely forgot how good, amazing, there's not even a word to describe the art of Yusuke Murata. He's just the goat of modern manga art. Everyone knows One Punch Man, and if you don't, then do me a favor and go read it. We know it's comedic, parody manga making fun of superhero stories. Yeah, the world and characters are still very entertaining, and I want to know more about them, especially about Fubuki. The action is masterful drawn, and I could absolutely lose myself if I started to talk about the paneling, shading, realism, and just everything that Murata mastered. But all of this is so apparent when just looking at one panel. Many times reading One Punch Man, I just had to stop to absorb that spectacular piece of art, and to this day, the introduction of God is the best panel of all of manga. But I guess that's a video for itself. Is it drama? Yes. Is it realistic drama? Absolutely. Is it isekai? Maybe. Oshinoko's amazing dive into the real story of entertainment industry and how it's full of lies, fake smiles, manipulation and intrigues. As hard as I tried, I can't figure out what to say about it. It's a drama story using a real world as an example, and not just the entertainment industry and how it works, but also other things like social medias and the dark side of using social medias. Dramas, accusations, the whole cancel culture that can bring someone to even suicide. And Oshinoko brilliantly pointing out these things is a story that can be closer to someone than you think. Bastard is amazing story full of plot twists, but I'm not gonna talk about the story or the characters and how well the mental state of characters is done. I want to point out a little different thing, and it's how it all looks. Manhwas are not like mangas. They are specifically done for the digital experience. With manga you're flipping through the page, and with manhwas you are scrolling through the story, making it totally different experience, and if you understand the concept, you can play with it quite a lot. And Bastard is exactly that. You see, the whole manhwa is in this interesting and kinda disturbing style, and if I try to explain it, the panels, pictures in this case, are placed one by one on this long strip with a really unsettling background color that adds to this mystery, depressing drama story. When I read Bastard, I don't know why, but the structure of it felt like I was reading through movie strip. With just subtle movements and static camera, it no longer felt like book, but like a movie, more adding to the manhwa experience. I was just more impressed of the usage of paneling than the actual story. But then it's exactly thanks to the paneling why the story is so unique and good. So here goes manga that doesn't have some huge message, doesn't have 200 chapters or some big names worked on it, but it has talking rooster fighting demons. The art style of this manga is on top of the top, with some of the most detailed panels, and the action, demons and the whole story is actually way better than you think. It will let you speechless and emotional. But then again, it's a manga about fucking rooster. In normal stories, the demons are the bad guys and humanity are the good guys. But Hulk has no good or bad side. Everyone is bad in some way. But the demons in Hulk act more human than humans, and humans act more like demons. And then there is Hulk, a human hero who participates in the demon tournament to determine the new demon lord. So what exactly is human doing in demon tournament, and why is he actually winning? Hulk is absolutely amazing comedy that will never let you answer if Hulk is on the side of humans or demons. And that's all thanks to another character, Vermilion-chan, who is constantly aware of Hulk and what other stupid shit is he gonna do next. Okay, but now, it is comedy, and it is pretty good comedy. There's decent art, interesting characters, and it is enjoyable story. But those are not the criteria why it should be at number 3. You see, Hulk has also an action, pretty fucking good action. And every time you see Hulk fighting, this charming, always smiling guy being consumed by darkness. And as the story goes on, it starts to uncover a lot of things, mainly what happened to humans and to Hulk before he came to Demon Realm. And that's also when the story will completely change from comedy to tragedy, from light, toned narrative to depression and despair. And Hulk just perfectly draws the line between comedy and seriousness. It knows when to be funny and goofy and when to just shut up and cry. So when you start reading Hulk, you will be full of joy and smile, and in the end you will be crying more than a baby. Son of Figuren. I think I've already said enough about this story. This is perhaps the best first chapter of all time that will set the tone of this manga and prepare you for what is yet to come. Slow, calm and sad story about time and how we have so little of it. time plays a really huge role here, as Frieren is an elf that can live for thousands of years and maybe even more. And it's really hard for Frieren to make some connections with humans, because in her perspective, they can just disappear in a blink of an eye. And yet she still feels sad after realizing that one of her closest friends died, and even after knowing how little time she had to get to know him, it never occurred to her how little it actually was. There is just so much I want to say about Soson of Frieren, about characters, magic, demons, humans, perception of time, storytelling, art, page composition, but I feel it is not even necessary, because one of the things I enjoyed the most about Soson of Frieren were just empty panels with no dialogue, no action, nothing, just characters whose time is skipped with turning a page. I don't have to say anything, I can just let the manga speak for itself. Now, quick before the number 1, let me mention a few gems that didn't get the chance to be in this list, but still deserve some time. Nanhao and Jean Feng, arguably the best comedy ever, that even starts to touch on very serious topics. I cried. But mainly, it's the most funniest shit ever. Girls Prison in Another World is a manga I've already covered in my Isekai manga video, but at the time it wasn't finished, and now it finally is. And it's not that bad. There is a story, but who cares when there is so much fan service and 2 girls kissing? There is so many scenes, and it definitely should have lesbian tag, but none of these things are bad, so it was good read. Chainsaw Man, of course Chainsaw Man is here, but this time I really needed to hold myself back and not to put it at number 1 for the 4th year. Yes, the second arc is not that amazing as the first one, and it somehow even feels like the quality decreased, but first of all, I don't care, it's Chainsaw Man and I love it, and second, it's Tatsuki Fujimoto we are talking about, just let him cook. And last, Atatake Yuki, that is a one-shot. At first it seems a wholesome story where a little girl is celebrating a birthday, but then it has really a huge dark turn. It's not long, it's not some amazing hidden gem or even Tatsuki Fujimoto's level craziness, but the dark turn left me speechless. I'm not showing any spoilers for purpose, because I want you to experience the punch in the gut for yourself. So go read it. It's a one-shot and you can literally read it in a minute, even less. And behold, as the number 1 manga I have read in 2023 is a manga world that gets 1 page once a year. Nah, I'm just joking. Now laugh. LAUGH! But it is an actual manga that already goes for 5 years, almost 6. And yes, it has only 5 chapters and it is close to the 6th. And I cannot wait for it, because it's fucking amazing joke and dedication from the author. Well, I wanted to do this joke with this manga last year as well, but I kind of forget about it. Now, when I said it, it's not funny. It sounded more funny in my head, not gonna lie. Like the video. Anyway, the number 1 manga is Ramiya Yana, and it's a story done by just one person. I don't know if he's a guy or a girl, definitely go check his Twitter, absolute fucking gigachat. And honestly, I don't really care. The only thing that I know is that he is French, so it can literally be anything. It could be even an alien, or a dog that developed human language and tried to blend to society, and maybe this manga is just cover for him so he can finish his brilliant plan of domination over human species and take revenge for what we humans are doing to dogs. But Ramiya is absolute masterpiece, and I would feel blessed to be under his submission. So yeah, anyway, Ramiya Yana, fucking amazing. The artwork is absolutely mind-blowing. Yes, I could talk about the normal things like story, characters, demons, Ramiya herself, but the thing is that everything is absolutely amazing, but the most amazing thing is the art. Don't you fucking see it? I'm mind-blown to this day how well it looks, and the art is still improving with every new chapter. Golden Smurf, you are fucking gigachat. You're just above us all, and I'm bowing to you. So anyway, you could already see some things. Let's just say that thank God that it's easy to read mangas with just one hand. I'm not really into muscular girls, but Ramiya awoken something inside of me. And if you are still not convinced that this definitely deserves first place, there's even a segment of Ramiya crushing someone's head with her thighs. And don't tell me you're just not screaming, "It should have been me, not him! It's not fair!" And this is basically how I feel every single time I read this. And I don't care, because this manga is fucking blast. Ramiya Yana is just an amazing masterpiece with the best artwork I've ever seen. If you want, which you should, go check it out on MangaDex. I will link it down below and in comment section, as well as his Twitter. Anyway, that's it guys, that was my list of best mangas I've read in 2023. It may not be as stacked as the previous year, but it's still better than the other list that was at the start of this year. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, have a wonderful rest of your day or night, and goodbye.